What's up, guys? Welcome back to the opening pair. Tonight is our Sports Zone edition, where we'll be talking everything UFC 251. I am your host, Gavin, and for this big show, I need a little bit of help. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my ever-reliable partner in crime, Mr. Keith Kilduff. Keith, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. And yeah, it's a big card this weekend. Lots of big fights. Fight Island is real. Fight Island is happening. And we're really happy to be here. And let's break down this card and let's get into it.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's great to be actually talking about the actual Fight Island. It's real. It really is here and with us. So it's a stacked card, as you say. The main card is just ridiculous. It's absolutely
beyond ridiculous, is what I would say. And I think it's actually been added with the addition of Masvidal, not taking that away from Gilbert Burns, but I think it's definitely heightened it up again.
Oh yeah, that man Masvidal is absolutely box office like. So this is must watch TV. Stay up all night. Forget about your curfews. Forget about everything. Forget about your diets. Just get up and watch it through. Get your coffee in. Get your sweets. Get everything in, and enjoy the show.
Definitely, I think it's such a stacked main card. But is there anything like worth watching out for in the prelims that you think? Obviously, you are the resident expert of the two. I am a paper fan at best, but there's something worth looking at beforehand.
Yeah, there is. There's a sort of an Irish connection. There's a guy, Makwan Amirkhani. He's fighting Danny Henry. Makwan, of course, trains out of SVG Ireland with John Kavanagh, coming off a tough loss to Shane Burgos in New York. Cardio was really a huge issue for him there that night. And it seems, I was doing a little bit of research earlier on the official UFC website, and it looks like he's not with SBG. Now, I'm not sure if that's because of COVID or what the story is, but it seems that TriStar is now where he is based. But look, he always brings the action. He's very exciting to watch. As I said, like he's definitely in need of a win. Danny Henry, he's also coming off a loss.
This is the Hatchet, is it?
The Hatchet, like what a nickname! It's amazing, like come on. But he's from Scotland, so it's another kind of a link to the Isles here a little bit. Makwan is very good jiu-jitsu wise. That's kind of grappling, that sort of stuff. But he's exciting. Even his chat, like he's not afraid to. I suppose exchange of the verbals, if we want to put it that way.
What division is this going ahead?
It's featherweight, so it's 145. Yeah, but it's a good fight. Like again, just looking at Danny there, he's saying that's his first actual proper camp. Like normally he actually works 40 to 50 hours a week and gives himself a 5-week camp in the lead up. So
that's not much of a.
No, it's not.
That's not great.
But again, I suppose these are your lesser known lights in the UFC, and these guys, it just shows you that they can't make a living out of just fighting, which is sad. But Danny's basically his stand up is where he's strongest. I think it's really going to be from what I've read on Makwan, he's kind of taking things seriously. Like I said, cardio let him down big time the last day, and I think this is a bit of a make or break. It could be his release papers if he doesn't get the job done. So I think based off of that hunger, that change up of desire, I think he'll do enough to get the win here. Can't see it being an easy fight now, having said that. But
there's no such thing as an easy fight these days. True. So you're always going to earn your victories one way or another. But I know that's interesting. So obviously there's Irish connections, guy from Scotland. So obviously this kind of ties into the whole Fight Island and the whole reasoning behind having this in Abu Dhabi. Because obviously, as Dana White was saying a few weeks ago, the way he was going, he's going to gas out all his American fighters. So he had to come up with something. And here we are, Fight Island, Abu Dhabi. I just wish I could be there. But listen, the next best thing is watching this on BT Sport the weekend, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Look, you can get your T-shirt if you really want to as well.
Oh, I've pre-ordered it already.
Very good. So that's kind of, as we said, the prelims. But I think honestly, the fact that the main card is so stacked that I think we have to focus all of our attentions there. Really,
definitely not. Definitely, there's so many different styles. I know that there are obviously different divisions that they're going to be, but it's just a lot of big names.
Yeah,
and I think there's a lot of really good stories that can come out of this. But where do we kick off? We kick off the bottom, working up.
Yeah, we kick off with the first fight of the main event, which is Amanda Ribas and Paige Van Zandt. This is exciting. This is a big fight for both fighters. Like Ribas has been on an absolute tear at 115. She's won her last 3 fights in a row there, and this is actually a step-up fight to 125 for her.
Okay. That's strawweight, is it?
It is strawweight, yeah. And she's facing off against, as I said, Paige Van Zandt, who, strangely enough, like she was seen as in 2015, 2016, she was seen as the future of the next kind of Ronda Rousey type. She has the look, that kind of California girl.
You could put her on a poster for a main event, and it could sell. She has everything but the record.
That's it. Like, she's had some very tough fights. She's had some very unlucky injuries. She's broke her arm twice in the same place, which is almost unheard of. Yeah.
I think she's like 7-4, 8-4 at the moment. I think Ribas is 8-1 or 7-1, something like that.
Yeah. She's on a tear. Like
I think it's 4 wins in total in her last 4.
Yeah.
3 in one division. But,
3 in the UFC. Yeah.
What sort of style of fight do you think we're looking at here? Are we looking at a grappling? Are we looking at a reach game?
It's hard to know because Van Zandt is a former Team Alpha Male alumni, and they are all smaller weight class, jiu-jitsu based, wrestling boxers. But her stand-up has improved something massively in the last 2-3 years. Like she had a fantastic head kick knockout of Beck Rawlings a couple of years ago. Like it's if you're looking for any of these YouTube videos of top class knockouts, that's one that just stands out straight away. It's up there, yeah. Ribas is she's more of your kind of grinder type. She wear you down, break you down bit by bit. So I can see it going to the ground. It's going to be quite even down there, I think. As I said, Van Zandt, she's on their last fight of her contract. Her husband, Austin Vanderford, he's a Bellator fighter. I can see, unless she gets a huge win here, she's had issues with the UFC back and forth with money. She's claimed that she makes more money with Instagram posts than she actually is from fighting, which is crazy.
Yeah, but I think let's focus on the fight today.
Yeah, but but these are the backstories. This is what sells. This is for me as well. It makes it exciting. But no, as I said, she's been a little bit up and down. Ribas has done an absolute tear.
Do you give the edge to Ribas?
I do, and I actually think it's very clever having her up at 125. That division is very light, and Shevchenko is dominant there, and contenders are needed. So I think going out on a limb a little bit, because Van Zandt can surprise you, but I'd have to lean towards Ribas in this one. Just as I said, the streaks she's on, I think she's going to play in her favor. So I'd be leaning towards Ribas decision.
Okay. Perfect. And then, so we've Andrade and Namajunas then next up.
Oh, this is my favorite fight in the card.
I'll be honest with you, this Rose Namajunas, she scares the bejesus out of me. I've watched a couple of bits of her now in preparation of this, and this woman scares me.
Yeah,
no question. Even though she will probably go into this probably as the underdog.
I would say Namajunas would go into this as the favorite.
Do you think?
For me, there's a very big backstory to this fight. This is obviously actually a rematch.
Noticed that, yeah. Actually, I noticed that in the record.
It's a fight we were actually supposed to see at UFC 249, the rematch originally in Brooklyn, but obviously everything that's happened at the moment with COVID and the likes really put the skids on that. And of course, Namajunas, unfortunately, 2 of her family members passed away from COVID. So that actually caused her to pull out of the rescheduled 249. That never went ahead anyway. So, but as I say, this is a rematch. Andrade is a scary, scary woman. Like, oh my God, she hits extremely hard. She hits like a truck. Like, she is an absolute tank.
Do we expect a lot of blood, a lot of open wounds?
Well, as I said, the original match was in Brazil when Namajunas was defending her belt, and it actually ended by Andrade picking up Rose and slamming her on her head and knocking her out by hitting her head off the canvas. Like, it was a terrifying moment. I remember watching it live, and for a good 3 or 4 minutes, people were thinking like she could have broken her neck. It was just terrifying.
It doesn't sound great now.
No, but having said that, that was round 2. In round 1, Andrade had gone for the same maneuver, and Rose actually had countered it and almost got a finish off of it. But again, the adjustments were made.
So it's kind of like a style on the counter style.
Yeah, a little bit. Like Rose. That first round, it was probably the best she's ever looked, even after beating Joanna Jędrzejczyk twice for the belt. But she suffers an awful lot mentally. Like, she's known to be very, very emotional. She's coached by her fiance, Pat Barry, former UFC heavyweight. So the relationship that they have there is very, very special. Like, they can really connect with each other, and it'd be very interesting actually to hear the corners as well. Especially now,
because we can hear the corners very, very vocally.
Yeah, absolutely. And she has also got Trevor Whitten in her corner as well. So that's
who is Gaethje's trainer.
Yeah, like, and he's an absolute diamond of a coach. Like, you can see
definitely. Like even I could tell what the Gaethje Ferguson fight. Yeah, like this guy knows exactly. Like, he's telling him to hold, he's telling him to go, he's telling those little nuances that means a lot in those 30 odd seconds of just getting clarity into your fighter. They're buzzed and they're up for it. Just getting that little small message in that just holds with them as they go back in for the next round. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. That's a massive thing. Having said that, now I don't want to overlook Andrade. I've been guilty of that in the past, and obviously, as I said, she's a very, very dangerous woman. Like, she is. If she lands clean, it's over. Like, that's as simple as that.
Okay.
That's how it is. Like, she is known as the monster of the division. Like, everyone is terrified of this woman. Like, she absolutely destroy her capabilities in her.
So who's going to win this and why?
It's a tough one because, as I said, there's the mental scars there with Rose. She actually claimed after she lost that fight that she was relieved to have the belt off of her because she lives a very Spartan lifestyle, a very, very private woman. I think she, as I said, that's almost a year ago now that fight took place. So I just feel that hunger, that loss, that chance to just reset everything, and with the coaching that's in her corner. For me, I think Rose takes it.
Okay.
I think it goes to points. As I said, as long as she can keep her distance away from that dangerous right hand of Andrade, I think she can take this win. But there's going to be a few scary moments in there for her. Okay,
very good. You're going with Rose on this one.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I think this is a perfect kind of opportunity to just take a pause for a moment. Once again, guys, if you're watching, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. And after you finish watching, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think, who you think is going to win. And let's keep getting into this fight. So we've got 3 title fights, which is I haven't heard tell of 3 title fights in one night. I'm sure you've probably experienced it a couple of times. But our first one it's at the vacated 135 men's or 140.
Yeah, no, you're right. 135, yeah, bantamweight.
Sorry, I always get them mixed up because I know Aldo fought Conor at 145, so that's why I'm getting a bit. That's why I get confused.
Yeah.
But Peter Yan and Jose Aldo at 135 for the vacating belt that Mr. Cejudo dropped so casually at 240 at UFC 249. This is an interesting fight because obviously, as it's come out after the fact, Aldo was meant to fight Henry for the belt. He was getting a shot. But Aldo's coming off 2 losses. And
he is, yeah.
Yan is on a 9-fight winning streak.
Yeah.
So kind of, when I kind of read that, I was like, like this seems to be one-way traffic. But I think I've always kind of had a thing in my head. If you've been a champion before, you know how to win big moments. You know how to get through fights, and I think that's going to stand to Jose in this fight.
Absolutely.
But Peter, was watching him there again, watching the highlights reel, if you will, and I found him to be like very nimble, but extremely deadly once an opening was there, and he got a very good grapple game in him. But how do you see this fight going?
It's the fight that we all, I suppose, are kind of scratching our head. How did we get here? But having said that, now that we are here, it's a great fight. Like, it is a great fight. Like Aldo, I don't even know where you'd start with him. Like, he's 10 years a champion with between the WEC and the UFC. He's fought pretty much everyone and anyone that's ever done it. He's been around everywhere. He's fought everyone. Like he's a very dangerous man. As you say, as you rightly point out, like that championship experience is there for him. But it's a big deal as well, cutting down to 135. I know he's made the weight once, but to do it again, there's that extra pound. He made 136 the last time. This is 135. I know it doesn't seem that an awful lot, but it is. There's that pressure there. Petr Yan is just so impressive. Like he's a master. I actually did a bit of research on him. This is actually he is a masters of sport in boxing and MMA. It's a Russian thing. It's a Russian award. Okay. But like that's how unheard of is that? He has a masters in fighting, basically. And he's Russian. We know what they're like. Those guys. He trains in Tiger Muay Thai in Bangkok. Like that's a legendary kickboxing gym.
Right.
But as you say, he does have that. He has that grappling ability as well. But Aldo hasn't been the same since Conor knocked him out in that 13 seconds. It's really seemed to knocked him back. I know he came back and he won the belt against Frankie Edgar, but Frankie was also a guy that's a little bit older. Had miles on the clock. Then, of course, we know Max Holloway did what he did to Aldo. There's a huge history there with Aldo. Like he is coming off a loss against Marlon Rice. It was one of those ones with the judges. He can't really. I felt he won the fight, but having said that, the decision went against him. It has to be bared in mind. It's the sense of MMA. It's MMA logic. There isn't any logic to it.
Yeah. But I think that the thing for me is I watched Petr Yan against Uriah Faber.
Yes.
And like Faber's a big guy, and he at that division I found that he probably was just a bit too big for Yan, and Yan was a lot, like as I said, he's very nimble. But like when he dropped him, it looked effortless. And I just wonder, like if Aldo gets too close, could that happen again? Could we see shades of McGregor 2.0 in the shape of Petr Yan here? I wonder.
I see it being not quite that.
Okay.
Jan's a lot more calculated in how he approaches things, and I feel Aldo is going to be very much the same. He's not going to rush in there. I don't think. Now he is known to get very much emotional.
Right.
There's a respect between both Yan and Aldo, so there's not going to be that ability to get under his skin as such.
Okay.
So I don't see Aldo rushing in. I see it being closer than you'd expect. I don't think that Jan's going to walk through Aldo.
Okay. Does Yan win?
I do think Yan wins. I do. I can't back against Yan just from what I've seen of the two guys. Jan's a guy that could just dominate for years at that weight class.
Because he's 26, I want to say.
He's 27.
He's 27 now. He probably was 26 when he fought Faber. That's
whereas Aldo's only 33 though at the same time. He's just been around forever.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. He's got the look of that guy.
Yeah, and he's a lot of miles on the clock. He's a lot like Max Holloway finished him, and Holloway is not known for his finishing ability.
Right.
As I said, though, I see it being a lot closer than people think, and it's definitely it's an amazing fight. Like, I know we got here through weird circumstances and that sort of thing, but
we're here now, so
we're here, and it's going to be a fight. It's a fight worth watching. Like for even the casual, Aldo has that name about him. Yan is sort of a mini Khabib in ways in his dominance, not quite the same style, but he has that dominance.
Yeah.
I don't see it being a finish.
Okay. You see it going the whole way and then let the judges make the call.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I'm going to go with Jan. And then it's on to Jan and Sterling, and that's a fight.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I would go Jan in this instance. Again, it's nothing against Aldo. I just think that there's a lot of plus points there in Jan that I don't think you can ignore. But again, as I said, Aldo is a champ, and
absolutely,
there's a lot to be said for being a champ and knowing how to get through those big moments.
Absolutely,
so that's our first title fight. What's our second one?
Oh God. Okay, so we've just mentioned Max Holloway. So our second fight is Volkanovski versus Holloway for the 145-pound featherweight belt. Again, another rematch, but this is one for the hardcore technical fight. This is going to be
definitely. This is actually a note I had.
Yeah, this is going to be a chess fight. This is going to be a chess match, basically, on the feet. It's going to be as much about what's not happening as what's actually happening in front of us. And again, it comes back to the point that we made of the cornering is going to be extremely interesting here. Can Max Holloway make the adjustments from the first matchup? Like Volkanovski, he used to actually weigh 214 pounds as a rugby player. Like he's like a Sean Cronin lookalike.
Yeah, he is actually.
You know what I mean? Like, but he carries that power. He's a bit of a chameleon in the fact that I find he can adapt his strengths and counteract his opponents if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying.
You can just on the fly, you can just switch things up.
But that's what you need. Like ultimately at that level, you need to be able to take in what's actually happening and come up. Okay, this is scenario B. This is you need to have all bases covered, because I think they released the second episode of Embedded today.
Yeah.
And Alex's trainer actually turned around and openly said, "We are looking to win this fight on points using kicks." Like I found that crazy that now, listen, they're probably holding a few bits back, but to actually openly say that, I thought was just crazy. But I think that I rewatched the first fight between these guys, and the fact that Alex was able to take so much damage and still strike and still go, and he outstruck Holloway for 4 of the 5 rounds, I think, in that first fight. But the one thing I counteract that was, and this is just my own kind of personal preference in a fighter, I like a tall fighter because I think it gives you more options in a fight. Now, obviously, I think Volkanovski has more of a reach than Max,
he does,
which probably counteracts my point a little bit. But I always liked a taller fighter for whatever reason. But I think the analogy of a chess match is very, very much that. And I think they'll both probably analyze that first fight to death. And I think you'll probably see a lot of chicken maybe in that kind of first round, that first 7-8 minutes. And then that kind of maybe the third and the fourth round are the ones where they're really going to try and implement what sort of plan that they have.
Yeah, that's I agree with that. Like Max is known as a notoriously slow starter, and that's actually what kind of cost him the last day. He comes on strong. Volkanovski basically out Max Holloway.
Okay.
Holloway is all about volume and just picking angles, cutting angles, find something different. He's fantastic on his feet. There's no one in that weight division. I don't think there's anybody better than. Obviously there is, but on the night it just happened to be that Volkanovski was the better guy. And
are these the two best in the division?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, they are.
By a stretch, or
I would say by a stretch. Magomed Sharipov is kind of the next guy off the taxi rank, basically.
Okay.
And you've Brian Ortega as well, who Holloway absolutely just annihilated.
Yeah,
that was his first loss. So there is a little bit of a gap. It's a huge fight though for Holloway. The pressure's really on Holloway, because if he loses twice to the champion, he's in purgatory then.
right.
We've seen him move up to 55, and he looks small there. So it's a massive, massive thing for Holloway.
Do we see a trilogy fight if Holloway clips this one?
I'm not sure is the answer really.
Okay.
It's hard to know. I suppose there's no real. I suppose the Korean Zombie's another guy. He's coming off a great win against Frankie Edgar, so like he could jump in there as well. It all depends. Like I'd watch it a third time, no question. It's up to date again though. It's Dana MMA logic, so no one really knows what's going to happen.
Are we fair to say that this is going 5 rounds?
I've listened to a couple of interviews with Volkanovski saying he wants to finish Holloway. He wants to put an exclamation mark on the victory because there's some people who questioned that he won. Like I to be honest, I seen it 5 rounds to nil. Really, I thought it was actually generous. I thought it was generous to give Holloway a round. Look, I'm the biggest Max Holloway fan you're going to meet. Like I'm hoping Holloway wins. I do. I'm not sure if it goes 5 rounds. I think.
Okay.
It all depends. As I said, it all depends if Holloway has made the adjustments. He hasn't. I don't think Holloway has the power to knock Volkanovski out.
Right.
Famous last words, more than likely. But I actually see Volkanovski getting the finish here.
Okay.
Because
so you see the defend.
I think so because Holloway is kind of started to try and play mind games. He's claimed that he's not sparred. He's claimed that he's done his training camp through Zoom with his coaches. Like it's very on Holloway, like, you know.
Right.
Look.
But ultimately, like, you know, if I'm Alex, I'm thinking you can do whatever you want. I know how my preparation is. Yeah. So you can say all you want and do all your YouTube videos hunting people, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like Volkanovski won the first fight pretty well. He's adapted to each, as I said, he's adapted to each opponent he's had every single time. I don't know, unless Max comes in with a completely different game plan he's not tried before. No, I'm going to reluctantly, because as I said, I love Holloway. I'm going to reluctantly stick with Volkanovski.
Okay.
TKO round 4. I'm going to say.
Okay, perfect. I think it'll go 5 again. I would like Holloway to win. I like him as a fighter, but I think Alex Volkanovski, like, he's a quality fighter. He is. So no matter who wins, I think we're in for a good fight, which is the main thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
But while we're talking about good fights,
my God, Christmas has come early.
Like Usman versus Masvidal for the 170 belt.
You could have this fight on its own on this card, and everyone would pay whatever it is that they're charging. Like, this is just street Jesus.
I think that this is first off, I think, you know, Masvidal has to take a lot of credit for taking this fight on 6 days notice and everything.
So does Usman.
Well, he's been prepped though, hasn't he?
For a completely different style fighter though. Do you know he's been like, there was an interview with Usman Friday or Saturday. I don't know. It's a very funny story. He's telling the story of, right, the fight's off, you're with Burns, it's gone, forget about it. But he says, right, I'm in Vegas, I'm going to go and eat, I'm hungry. So he's eating. He went out, had his big meals, went back to his room, still not satisfied, ordering takeaway, room service. He's eating while almost asleep. So this is all playing off. So then he goes, right, I'm flying back to Dallas. His parents live there. He said he hasn't had a beer in 18 months. Just as he's opening his beer and about to look into his food, his phone rings. You're going to turn back around. You've got to fight. Masvidal has stepped up. Now, he could just have easily said, no, I'm champion. I did my bit. I'm not ready to go. So I think a little bit of credit has to go to, a lot of credit has to go to Usman.
True, but I think this is what we want as well. Nothing against Gilbert Burns, but I think this just amplifies this fight hugely. Obviously, Usman's coming in. He's 17-1. I think he's won his last 8 or 9, and his last 3 wins is Tyron Woodley, it's Kobe Covington, and it's Rafael dos Anjos. Like, they're huge names, and you can't, like, you know, them lads aren't easily stopped.
No, he's also beaten, like, the next game in my, you know, like, he's beaten a who's who of the welterweight division. I think a very interesting fact, and it's a name that's going to come up if he wins. If he defends this, he breaks GSP's record of most wins in a row in the welterweight division, which is just that's big time.
That's special, all right.
It is, but no, Masvidal is outside of a certain Mr. McGregor. He's probably the only guy that could just sell a fight on his own.
Yeah, and the thing with Masvidal is that, he was kind of like at a crossroads in his career where he wasn't really going anywhere. He was a bit of a journeyman. And then something's clicked, and obviously like he's on this kind of rise. He knocked out of the year in 2019 for that amazing head kick against Ben Askren. Yeah. And then obviously the BMF against Nate Diaz when we were robbed of another 2 rounds because of a damn doctor stoppage. And Diaz would have kept going. Like he'd keep going in briars if he could, I'd say that. But I think there's going to be some massive shots in this.
I can't sell this fight enough. I haven't the vocabulary to sell this fight enough. It's just going to be violence. It's just going to be. This is. Get up, stay up. It's going to be worth it. I honestly. I'm for once I'm lost for words. Like I'm just so excited.
Well, let's try and let's take this down a little bit and let's try and kind of get into this. So the styles kind of really add up here as well. I think this Masvidal's probably a little bit more kind of like open in terms of like going for the big shots constantly, whereas Usman likes to pick off. But when he gets in close, he's no problem with that either. Would that be fair to say?
It's to be very basic about it. It's a striker versus wrestler.
Okay.
Usman's stand-up has improved. Don't get me wrong. His stand-up is very, very good. We've seen that against Colby Covington. That was one of the fights of the year. To be fair, both of them were wrestlers, but for me, I don't see Usman wanting to stand with Masvidal at all here.
Okay.
As much as he wants to prove his toughness and that likes of that, we know Masvidal has a huge hole in this game with wrestlers. As I said, look, we knocked out Ben Askren in 8 seconds or something, 5 seconds I think it was. But Askren shot from the bell, went straight for his hips and got caught. Usman's not going to be like that either, though. He has a little bit more confidence in striking. This is a better matchup for Usman than Burns. It's a lot better. Like Burns can go stand toe to toe with him, but also he's an absolute animal on the ground with jiu-jitsu, just out of this world.
Okay.
Masvidal has that ability to just not care and just throw anything. And I think people are making a big thing out of 6 days notice and Masvidal basically made his name from fighting in backyards, just fighting with bare knuckle, but fight anyone, any day, give me an hour's notice, I'll be there, I'll fight. So if anyone could pull this off, it's going to be Jorge Masvidal.
Right.
He's one of those guys, he just loves to fight.
And there's a lot to be said for that as well. Just be like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's just do this.
Yeah, I'm down.
Because I suppose they've probably been eyeing up one another for a long time as well. So it's not
here between these two as well, which is always a great fight. It's a pity we didn't get more of a build up with these two going back and forth each other as well.
Yeah, but we do have the rest of the week before we get at it.
yeah, this is going to be a fun week. Masvidal claims he's got to cut 20 pounds. As I said, Usman seems to have, he's not a small welterweight either. There's a huge issue there. I think a big factor as well for Masvidal is that he's lost his head coach, Mike Brown. He's tested positive for COVID only, I think, today, basically.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, Usman...
At the time of recording, he's tested positive.
Yes, exactly, yes. There you go. Usman's had issues with his corner. Henry Hoof was in his corner, but for the Burns fight, they trained together, so he's left and gone and trained with Alliance MMA, whereas that's Justin Gaethje's camp. So he's training with Gaethje, so he's going to get serious rounds, and the stand-up is going to improve there.
Definitely.
There's so much going on here. There's just so much to unpack. Where
Where did they lose this fight? Let's maybe take this sort of conversation. Where does Masvidal lose this fight?
I think if Usman can close the distance safely and get him to the cage and just break him down bit by bit, like we seen what he did to Tyrone Woodley, like he absolutely just
pinned him and wouldn't let him go.
Broke him. He broke his spirit, and just that was it. Now, I think Masvidal has a lot more fight in him, but if we're talking about grappling levels, Usman's on a different level to Masvidal in terms of that. As for vice versa, where do I see Masvidal? If Masvidal can keep Usman off of his hips and keep it standing, keep it in center cage, and just land, I think with the little bit of hatred that's there, you could potentially get Usman a little bit. I don't want to say emotional, because he kept his emotions in check against Colby, who was just an absolute head wrecker basically to get in there. But I just see Masvidal having that ability that if he can keep stuff to take them, if he can stand with a guy for 5 minutes, there's not that many guys that can withstand what he's landing with elbows, knees, everything. He's just a very unusual striker.
So come here. Do we go KO? Is this going 5 rounds? Are we saying and new, or are we saying and still? What are we looking at?
As I said, there's so much going on here. There's just so much. But to be fair, I think both sides have had to deal with just as much setbacks as each other.
Right.
I think it's. I'm not going to lie. I want Masvidal to win, because it just opens up so many different exciting fights. Like there's potential of McGregor, there's potential of Diaz, there's potential of just absolute record-breaking fights. In the cold light of day, I just see Usman having that edge. His stand-up is enough to get him by. I think the difference in Usman's stand-up and Masvidal's takedown, or what he can do on the ground, is not enough. If that makes sense, I just think the gap is bigger for Masvidal towards Usman.
Okay.
I reluctantly go. I'm going to go 5-round decision for Usman, because I said Masvidal is his nickname is Game Bread. He's no quit in him, and he's just going to fight to the death. You don't have to kill the man basically to stop him.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
But no, I'd have to lean reluctantly towards Usman decision.
Yeah, I would be the same. I think Usman is going to. There's just going to be something that is just going to separate them. Whether it's points, it may well be. But I do think that at the end of the fight, we will be saying and still. But I think that's it. I mean, it's UFC's 251. That's our preview. It is Saturday night, BT Sports. If you haven't got BT Sports, please get BT Sports. Even if you record it, watch it the next morning with your breakfast. This is going to be worth the watch, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't really add much more to that. Like I've droned on long enough. As I said, look, this is the way you judge these fights. Is it worth staying up or not? And this categorically is worth staying up for. I can't say it enough.
No, that's fair. I think on that note, we'll probably see this out, Kyle, for another episode of Sports Zone on the Open Pair Network. Once again, everybody, if you can, please like the video, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, let us know how you think these fights are going to go. Once again, I am at Kilduff Media on Twitter and Instagram. Kyle is at KyleGavin23 on Twitter. Kyle, see us out.
Yeah, so that's it, guys. That's our preview. As I said, look, just get yourself a seat, book the couch early, and get sit down. Yeah, enjoy the fights, guys, and we see you soon.
Guys, thank you very much once again. Take care, mind yourselves, and we will see you on the next episode. Take care. Good night.